like I'm Medea.
What's going on? Welcome back to Thursday Night Live with those two sisters. We are fashionably late today. Well, not fashionably, but we're late nonetheless. But um anyway, sis, you want to go ahead and get right on into it?
Yes, we are late because life happens. And I was just talking about this about how sometimes you just feel like everything's just rushing at you and you're just, making it happen moment to moment. Some days I feel like, you could have never have fully prepared for that day. You know what I'm saying? If you knew everything that was going to come at you in a day, it's not like you could really prepare for it. You just have to show up and do your best. And so that's kind of what happened today, but it worked out. And in those moments when it does work out at the end of those days, and we were just kind of talking about this offline, when those days happen. Hey Ellen, hey
Hey,
Fourth
Ellen.
Quarter,
What's up, bro?
hey
What's up,
Omega
Craig?
Man, what's up, Craigums? So in those days where you just kind of like made it happen, got it together, at the end of those days when you think about like how much you had to bring to that day, how much energy, how much focus, how much preparation, like most of the time you should be thankful, but a lot of the times you always forget that you have that sauce next time you go back into having a day like that.
I know
Those
those
many
days usually be like Tuesdays. Everybody say Mondays, everybody doesn't look forward to Mondays, but Tuesdays, I find Tuesdays to be like one of the busiest days of the week for me. And it's just like whatever is gonna happen that's gonna go wrong is gonna happen on that day.
That's so funny because I feel like it's Thursdays for me. And I think it's
Right before the end of the week.
because, all right, so because I've obviously got an answer for that. I had an answer for everything.
Everybody's trying to get everything off of their desk onto your desk.
And I think what happens on Thursdays is everything that was started for the week is now coming to like it's now a rush to finish. And it's like, okay, everything's live right now on Thursday or Thursday Night Live. At my on my work day, like on my job, I feel like Thursdays are super like not even necessarily intense, but it's like a lot of times on Thursdays, that's when everything is just like gotta get this done right now. It's like no space for like let's look into it. It's like now, and things are like popping up. And but here's the thing, like I said, when you come into those things, those situations, you don't necessarily feel like you're never going to feel like you're prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to go back through all the things that I forgot some of the stuff that I got through today. But one of the things too is like I like to think to myself when I'm going through like a challenging time, like you know how you have like a presentation at work or like some conference is happening this week or some meeting that you're preparing for, and those weeks be like the most stressful weeks. But like for some reason we never remember how we bodied the last situation. You know what I'm saying? With
So
less.
so I have one of those weeks coming up in like 2 weeks. And it's something that happens every like year, sometimes every 6 months. But I never think about it how good okay, I think about how great I did right after I'm done. And then I'm like, got that off the plate, right? And now that I'm approaching it again, I'm not thinking about how great I did last time. I'm thinking about how heavy of a lift it is. And so
Mm.
I think I need to just turn that around and look at it to say, look how you did the last 2 times. You're gonna like, why wouldn't you, do the same? So
So let
instead of
me tell
dreading
you,
it, because if I dread it, I'm gonna be
listen, I'm actually actively working on my discipline. And so this is funny because people like David Goggins come to mind, like the crazy dude he's not I can't say crazy, but he was like the Navy SEAL
mm-hmm.
dude that wrote the book, like I think it's called Can't Hurt Me. And he had a wild life. I read that book. I was like, I'm
Yeah, he
scared of you.
did.
But him and I took I've been listening to Jim Rohn a lot, and then that got me listening to Brian Tracy. And I was reading this book called No Excuses, and it talks about discipline. And I'm like actively looking for information to apply. So anyway, the thing that comes to mind is Jim Rohn saying like, I do things and it's easy. He
Bring us
defines
the tea,
easy.
please.
Hey, Jim Rohn said he defines easy as if I can do it, so it's easy, right? It's something I can do. And I think about discipline that way. It's like I think I was telling you last week when I was doing the meal preps, and I was like, I don't really feel like doing this, but I was like, here's an opportunity to work on my discipline because I can do this, right? And it's easy for me.
That's
because
so
I
grown
can
up
do
of
this.
you. So grown up. I said that's so grown up of you.
I mean, I try to just like focus on this. I really did not want to do that during. You going into meal preps, you're gonna spend a good 2 hours prepping meals for the week, but it does save time.
It's worth it though, because
it's worth it because you spend like 30 minutes, 40 minutes prepping meals on a daily basis. If you do that 2 hours on a Sunday,
if you don't feel like it, that's the main time when it pays off, because most of the bad decisions I make in food are made in those times where I haven't planned any meals and I'm like, might as well eat Popeyes.
Forget it, right? And that's what we just went through that today. We're like, oh, we really want to just pick something up, but we have meal preps. There's no good reason to go and pick up some food because we already have food prepared. That means you gotta waste the food that you got at home. And James was like, nah, we gonna eat our meal prep. So I was like, yes,
I really, really need to practice my discipline when it comes to meal prepping, because I have a habit of like going to the store. Like I don't have a problem going to the store getting food and cooking, but it's whatever's going on. Do I have that much time in the kitchen, and am I gonna feel like cooking after I do all this stuff? And a lot of times I underestimate what I'm gonna feel like doing, and then like either I'm wasting stuff because I took too long to cook it. And the crazy thing is sometimes I will go to the store to get stuff, and then I'll be like, let me get something to eat on the way home so I don't gotta cook when I get home. And it's like, why did you just go to the grocery store?
What are you talking about? Let me tell you what we do. We do our grocery shopping every other Friday. On Friday nights.
So
now we just started.
Let me ask you a question. So y'all go to the store every other Friday, and y'all don't go to the store no in between those 2 Fridays? Nope.
Well, okay, listen. If we realize like, oh, we ran out of eggs, or you know what I'm saying, like those little trips like that. But pretty much for the most part, no. There are no store runs from Friday to Friday. We go to Costco, then we go to Wegmans or whatever, and then that ends it. We used to go on Saturday, but then we realized like, why wouldn't we just knock it out on Friday and have a full Saturday? Like it is just like such an exciting thing to wake up on Saturday and know like all my grocery shopping's done. But like here's the thing.
Okay, so so my logic. So when we went into this whole pandemic situation, I mean, at first I had a whole bunch of stuff, and then I really do need to get disciplined in that. So what I'm gonna need you to do is I'm gonna need you to send me a sample list of something that y'all did, like for one situation, like one set of weeks, right? Because I definitely spend way too much money in the store. I'm definitely always in the store. If somebody calls me on my phone, I'm either on my way to the store or I just came back from the store. So I do need to see like a sample list of what kind of meals are you making, because that's where I get stuck. I'll have all these things in mind to make, but then when I come home from the store, I really don't have all the stuff that I should have that will prevent me from going back to the store, because I'm like, oh, I'll just go on this day and I'll get this. And I gotta stop doing that.
You know what? It's so funny. Like, I don't know if I even want to put, because we are on like line and we are live, but okay, so this is how dorky I am. This is awesome. I have a spreadsheet. This lady, you know what? I get so many compliments from the people who check us out, like on our grocery bags and stuff like that, on our reusable grocery bags.
You seem like one of those people that has all the bags and stuff when you're in the store.
I get the compliment, and I love the compliments. I just am like, yes. This one lady. Okay, so here's what I'm bringing.
So you actually take the bags that your mom gives us and use them.
Well, yeah, and I have those other bags that I got from Amazon, the ones that have the structure in them. Listen, the whole reason
I don't never remember to take them. I get to the store and I'm always like, oh, I need to remember my bags.
Two demerits for you. Now listen,
actually really, really nice bag.
The only reason I'm bringing that up is because that's one of the compliments that I enjoyed. The most recent compliment that I got that warmed my heart is that the lady who we were checking out, and she was like, is your grocery list on a spreadsheet? And I was like, yeah, see?
Yeah.
I was like,
I would have been in the store, I would have been looking at you like, look at this chick.
Let me tell you, this one is so easy because I literally take the one sheet, copy it over, right? And then delete all the stuff that we don't need and add in the stuff that we do need. And I literally have like a year's worth of tabs that I just keep hiding the last tab.
Definitely send me an example because
I will certainly. I was about to bring it up, but I was like, I don't
that's
really.
That's gonna be my personal challenge. I'm going to try to go to the store tomorrow and not have to go back until the Friday after next.
Let me start at the beginning then. Here's what you do. You take out a sheet of paper, or not even a sheet of paper. Who says that anymore? Who has like loosely? I have loosely paper, but like you take out your paper that you're gonna write with, and you plan out all your meals. Like you're gonna, let me tell you, you're gonna have at least, we plan out 15 meals, right, for the week. Like, okay, breakfast, lunch, and dinners, lunches. Breakfast, lunches, and dinners. At any given week, you're assuming that you're going to have 21 meals, but most people don't have, I don't know. I don't necessarily eat 3 times a day every single day. Sometimes I skip breakfast. Sometimes I like eat lunch at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock and I'm not hungry for dinner. So, but what I think about is like, okay, if there's going to be 21 meals, what are they going to be? The breakfasts are all going to be like similar or the same, or one day it's going to be oatmeal. Next day it's going to be boiled eggs and, fruit, whatever, right? So you do that, and then you're like, for lunches, we just have all salads. What'd you say?
I said, you really are getting older. Y'all eat boiled eggs and fruit for breakfast?
Oh my gosh, I am your mother. Welcome. I'll be turning into her. It's crazy, like how old is this? Telling you how I feel like I'm getting so old. Anyway, then you just plan out like 2. I wouldn't suggest one. I would plan out 2 dinners, right? And you're like, we're either going to have salmon or we're going to have chicken breast, right? And I just make those 2 dinners. Like a lot of times it's turkey meatballs and chicken breast, and I like to do something that I could also put on the salad. So that's why chicken breast is always like in there somewhere. But so you plan out your 3 meals that you're going to have, and then that starts your grocery list. You're like, oh, what do I need to make chicken breast? Oh, okay, I need my fruits and onions, and I need this and this and that. And that makes your list. And that's what goes on the spreadsheet. Anyway, I feel like
okay. I want to see the spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it up. This is gonna be so wild.
Well, you don't have to do it for the world, but I want you to send it to me. But one of the things I always do is I write everything down. Anyway, so I always grocery list, because once I write it down, I don't even have to. I usually write it down, take a picture or notes on my phone. But once I write it, I'll remember anyway. And so anyway, I write a list of, I plan to eat, I know what we want to eat, right? And I'll be like, the problem is, like, it's a mosquito in here and it's going to tear me up. Okay, anyway. All right. Like, I know what I want to eat. Like, okay, if I know we're going to eat salmon this week and roasted veggies, or maybe I'll make like a pot bake or something like that, right? And I guess part of it is to actually going in the kitchen and actually fixing the meals and putting them away. I don't know. So I just buying a whole bunch of stuff for like a few meals. And
I don't know if it's just me, but I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Hold on, let me go out and come back in.
Okay, well, I agree with Ellen. Demita, you need to keep the grocery bags in your car, because we used to do that a lot. Now it's such a habit to just grab them out of we keep them like right by the closet, like right in the closet, in the front closet. But I was just telling everyone that Ellen is right. You need to keep the grocery bags in your car, because we used to do that a lot too. And now it's just such a habit for us to like, okay, we're going grocery shopping. Do you have the bags? It's probably James that always remembers the bags. Actually, it is, because he probably sick of hearing my mouth like, you didn't bring the bags. That has happened a couple of times. All right, if you want to share the screen that I have up, so I'm willing to put myself out there.
I think I'm lagging, but
oh, okay. Yeah, this is so weird, right? But like, this is it. So basically, this is how it goes. Like, and then I got my little like, little tabs at the bottom that I keep hiding. So there's a bunch of hidden tabs at the bottom of like, all the weeks prior. But like, this is how it goes. add them to this, and then when we get to the store, I just be having my phone out, and then whatever is in there. Sometimes I'll get something that's not on the list, like this. I saw these bomb sheets and a blanket at Costco. I was like, I gotta get that. So I just added it on. And the reason that I started doing this was because I wanted to know the total before I got to the register. So I have a little running total, and that's the reason I wanted to do it. And so it works. It works. So that's my boring life. But I mean, hey, listen, it works.
I think I am. Like, I can hear you, but you can't hear me, I don't think, because I think I'm still going in and out.
I can hear you that time.
I would hate to have to change the thing.
Well, I could hear you that time.
All right, let me. Yeah, but I'm doing. It's like I'm doing the glitch on the screen, and I don't even know if you can hear me. Let me go out. You can keep talking about your spreadsheet.
Okay, cool. I'll be here. Everybody, welcome to my spreadsheet. This is so odd that oh man, Monique, you just go up and down the aisle grabbing what you need. You can literally get so sidetracked like that. I've done that before, and then I've gotten home and then I've no meals. I'm just like, no, here's the thing. I do love to do that, but my husband is such a stickler for like staying on track to the point where at one point I had to like guesstimate how much time we're going to be in stores for him to even go with me. Like, hey, we need to go to the Target. And he would be like, how long are we going to be there? And I'll be like, oh, we're going to be there, 30 minutes. So I would have to like stick to that. So then that was like the time in my life where I had to stop going up and down the aisles, because I used to love going up and down the aisles and seeing like what's here that I can, make something from and be creative. And that's like one of the fun parts about going to the store for me. But, he ruined all that for me, because now I just have to have a list and just stick to it. But but when he's not around, I still walk up and down the aisle.
And I'm working, but now it's not working. You can hear me, but I feel like I'm sticking when I'm looking at it on the screen. Oh, so I don't know. In the comments, can y'all hear me? I don't know what to say as a tester. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Did y'all hear everything? If they didn't hear, they're gonna know. Shit, not gonna know. But yeah, so I need that spreadsheet. And she said, put the aisle number down to save it one more time.
Look,
our app, and if I have to go there, I hate being in there. See, I love walking around the store. That's another reason.
That's a great idea.
I love to go around and like pick fresh produce and see what other kind of shit that they have already at home that they've marketed better, and somehow makes me feel like I need another one of these. It's all part of the story. Me too. You know what I'm saying? And so I got some things that I'm trying to do. So I do have to get more discipline in, like, at least. That should be expensive, especially if I go every 3 days.
That's true.
May or may not go every day. Sometimes I don't, but that's excessive to me. So I should be able to plan better. And I used to, but for some reason after this whole, I just be like, I'll just do a 3-day list.
No, I feel you, but I do think that I spend more money when I do it that way. Because when I have done that way in the past, let me just tell you about my 20s. I'm going to take this down now. When I was in my 20s, I felt like
okay, hold on.
When I was in my 20s, I used to, remember when I used to live over by the Navy Yard? I used to get $200 worth of groceries every 2 weeks to put in my fridge, and then I used to go religiously out to eat every single night, because I had 2 jobs at the time. I used to stay with 2 jobs. Like, I have an office job in the daytime, and then I would have some like bartending gig or serving job at night. And it's just the lifestyle when you are in the hospitality industry. It's like, it's the lifestyle to go out after work. Like, you're gonna go out to a bar.
That money on hand. I remember.
I mean, it almost
like the whole like once we get off, it's time for us to go do what everybody else that came to our restaurant to do. So we gotta go drink, we gotta go party. And yeah, that's a
Exactly.
trap because you spend the money that you know, it's dangerous to have money every day because you think, oh, I can just spend
I
money
could
every
just
day.
spend it. I literally used to spend so much money and like and it would, but to add fuel to fire, it's like I was in denial. So I didn't accept that fact that I spent money every day. I would still go and get groceries. Like I felt incomplete when I didn't have groceries to waste. I put all of this stuff, I know about fresh produce and everything, put all that stuff in my fridge.
I can't wait to throw this away.
I can't wait to throw this away in 2 weeks and literally not touch none of it. Like I might drink some orange juice or some ginger ale, and I wasn't making no, but like literally I would buy like meats and produce and like just kidding myself for a whole, like it had to be like a whole 3 or 4 years of this. And like literally every 2 weeks, I don't know what was possessing me. Like it's time to go grocery shopping, but you need groceries in the fridge so that you can ignore them for 2 weeks. Like it was like so
like,
wild.
Like everybody do with boxes of lettuce because whenever I finish one of those, I'd be psyched. I'd be like, yes, I did not let it go to waste.
We be finishing them now, but see that's the thing because we don't go during the week. So it's like, what's in there? Like it's kind of hard when you have options, but once you get into it, it's like, you know, we be holding each other accountable too. Like, oh, I'm hungry. Okay, well, what's in there to eat? Open the fridge and make something.
You know what I'm saying? Because even when like it's so much stuff because you know, I have just random stuff anyway. Like I always keep beans, I always keep, you know, rice and stuff like that. And like different stuff that I find at Costco that are like, you know, like those lentils that mommy gave me that time is like this, they're in like this they're in like a pouch or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna keep that for just in case I need it or whatever. But it's like so when I'm going grocery shopping, I really need to do like I really need this budget thing because I really need to challenge myself not to go to the store within 2 weeks. Like I think I can do it.
I know you can do it, especially because you are the person who basically made the point that like we eat the same things all the time. Like you know, the people who are out there, other people who are out there who are. I mean, it's one thing if you get in those HelloFresh boxes or whatever that they have.
I mean, but
like,
you're still either gonna get chicken, beef, pork, or some seafood. Like
most of us are not making gourmet meals all the time. We're eating the same like 4 or 5.
You don't have that many proteins to choose from. Like you can do a whole bunch of vegetables, but like technically, like you know what I'm saying. Like if you think about a span of 2 weeks, you eat chicken a couple of times. You eat whatever it is that you eat, right? So you just do it in different presentations. You know what I'm saying? Like I find great things to make, but I just really need to do it. Okay, we spent way too much time on groceries, but I need a spreadsheet. And I need
these are the fun parts of the conversation because these are like the unplanned joints. All right, let me go to our first topic, which is actually I'm going to skip over that first topic. Oh, do I want to? No. Okay, so the first topic is about getting through things, which we kind of just talked about, like getting through things and being prepared. But it's so interesting to me how people don't pay attention sometimes and they ask for things that they could have easily found themselves. And like and I'm not judging those people, but I'll just use James for example.
I am.
He's my husband, and he routinely asks me questions that he could easily Google, and it's like I'm his Googler. It's like he's looking at me like you're my Googler. Come here, Google something for me. It's like he might as well just start. I might have more patience for these questions if he started his questions. We started his sentences like that. Like he'll say something like, "What movie did that lady play in?" Right? Or he'll be like,
"Hold up," but that technically is a good question to ask you because you know all of the people who ask questions like that. Like every time, if I be like, "What was the lady that played in such and such?" You'd be like, "Oh, it was such and such and such and such," and I'd be like, "No, it's not," and you always be right on that. I'll give you that. So that don't count.
All right, that's fair. That was a bad example. That was a bad example.
Dude, like
but he'll be like, Like he asked me the other day because we were planning for this trip. He's like, "What's the weather for the next 3 days?" I was like, "I don't know. Let's ask Google. Like, let's ask so and so. Let's ask one of these." I'm gonna say Alex because if I say her real name, she's gonna be like, "I don't know what you mean." We could ask Siri or we could ask Alex. Like, why are you asking me as if I have these answers at my fingertips? But anyway, that's another.
I feel you on that because what was I doing today? I must have been washing clothes or something, and I usually have like the living room TV on. Like when I'm walking through here cleaning up and stuff, I'll have the living room TV on, and like I'll just be playing something loud enough so I can hear wherever I'm doing. And some lady she hit somebody. That's another thing I want to talk about. Fucking YouTube. But some lady got on somebody's panel, and she was asking questions, and I just couldn't say nothing. But did she not Google anything? Like that's not like a response for most people for some reason. Like I be tearing Google up. If people could pull up my Google search, they'd be like, damn, she be wanting to know everything. I always Google stuff, but it seems like a common sense thing. But sometimes it's like, especially in your situation, like you're very, you always have an answer for something. So I can see him trying to be like, okay, well, let me, she's probably already this shit up.
Right. That's all right. That's fair enough because people ask me. So he's not the only person. Like it's lots of people that are in my life, like in my job and and things like that. And like I ask questions too, but like I remember I asked Chelsea and Larry, and they were. I mean, the two of them together are better than Google. I asked them a very specific question one time, and the answers they came back with were so spot on. Like I asked because I was looking for a specific type of music. I was like, I want to kind of listen to gospel, but I don't want it to be. But I want it to be, instrumental like classical music. But I don't want it to be. I don't want it to have words. And Larry was like, "Oh, listen to classical such and such Bach or something." Like he gave me a name, and then Chelsea chimed in and gave me, and I was like, "Y'all better go ahead!" Like, and it was perfect. Whatever I played, like whatever playlist that was. Whoever's name they gave me, I was like, this is exactly what I needed. Like, what are they doing over here? They can build their own Google, the Black Google.
Yeah, I do that to your nephew too. Sometimes he asks questions and I be like, does Google not? So I get you on that. But
and I guess sometimes it's the skill of Googling. I'll say that because you gotta have the correct search words in order to get.
But the thing is, right? So this is another thing that is like, it seems like a common sense thing, but it's really not. Because when, like, this is my phone, and I think my fucking screen is doing the shit again.
Well, now it's coming back. It looks clear now. It just happened in the last 2-3 seconds.
Thank you guys for bearing with me through this, because I don't know how this is going to look, but I guess you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, it looks fine.
So anyway, what the fuck was I talking about?
You were talking about those words, the search words. Like it's very.
So I want to know what your process is after I tell you what my process is.
Okay.
Very simple. I'll start out with what it is that I'm trying to figure out, right? Whatever the basic question is for that. From that first question, I get multiple other questions to Google. And then that leads me to where I need to be. Because sometimes after you start Googling something, you're like, oh, well, what about this? And what about that? Or whatever. So it is about having the right search words to pull the right thing up. Because I know you've done this before too. Like told somebody to look something up and they looked it up and they couldn't find what you found. And they're like, what did you search? Well, I put in the keywords of what I was looking for.
The relevant ones. The ones that yield the answer.
I'm intrigued. Let's see that Google history. Well, I was Googling how tall Jesus was the other day. And what else was I Googling?
Was that a real Google search? Oh, God.
Yeah, it said that he was like, well, it's a bunch of different answers, but the main thing that I got was that he was about anywhere from 5'9" to 6 something. But 5'9" came up a lot.
I wonder in relation
I think Monique
to
was in that chat where I was talking about Googling that stuff because we was Googling something else too. But I look up everything and stuff for stuff that I feel like if Big Brother saw it, they would send somebody to my house. I don't look up stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I stay away from those things. I don't even type certain words or whatever. But
same.
But because all of this shit is recorded somewhere. So
same. And I also think to myself sometimes, like, you know, even if I'm curious about something, like when I was watching Dahmer, I got really curious about like certain things, like what acid is that? How could you go, you know, it was like a bunch of stuff. And I was like, not me.
shit that
Because
leaves
here's
somebody
the
to your
thing,
front door.
you could
Like, she
literally
had a podcast with her sister on YouTube, and turns out she was searching for how to make this.
and the problem with that is now with that information, anybody can build a narrative off of you. And like that's what I sometimes am skeptical about when people do like when I'm watching news stories, because they just give you the first information they have. And that information is excluding other information. Like this is the very first fresh information that they felt relevant to share with you. And that might not be the most pertinent information. So before I soak all that in, you know what I'm saying? I think it's pretty dangerous to just take a snapshot and use that as the narrative of who this person is. Because I mean, a lot of times when people are, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about the news media. I'm just saying, like, you know, you could make anybody sound really bad, like, you know, based off of Google search or based off of like this lady hasn't, you know, hasn't tipped over this amount for the last 7 years, or you know, you could make me sound really bad if you didn't know me based off, and that's not me, by the way, because I do tip well, but I'm just saying, like, it could be anything, like, oh, okay, perfect thing, and I'm willing to share this. That's what I'm saying. This woman from DC or that moved to Maryland last year paid off $800 worth of traffic and parking tickets, right? It's just like, that sounds really bad. You could couple that with a couple of other things that aren't so favorable about my lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you gotta do the right things, right? You're right.
Yeah, $800 worth of parking tickets, but look at this liquor store bill. Like, you know, you can just put the things together and make me sound like a real crazy,
my God,
like type of person. Like, oh, she has problems. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, like, I'm trying my best out here, folks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, I don't know. I'm just really skeptical about. Listen, that's a good point.
I mean, that's for real though. That's for real though. Like you see people, you see a little percentage of people when people come on YouTube, or even when you are around these people, like you're not with them 24/7. You know what I'm saying? So like the gag is, to me, is that none of us know how we're gonna react throughout the day, because none of us know all of the things that we're gonna encounter. So like you might get, you know, cheery whoever in the morning. By the time they go through their day, they might be a total different person, you know, when they get through the obstacles of their day or whatever. So it you know what I'm saying, the media got a whole bunch of shit to pick from. But yeah, that's probably how those narratives get I want to say the right word here, because
get spun. Those narratives get spun.
That's how those narratives get spun. But yeah, that's funny as you said. I never thought about it like that. Like, yeah, you picked the right 3 things, then
but you can make anybody sound wild. And
yeah,
speaking of which, say again.
That makes me think about stuff a little differently. Like, you know what, that was a little piece of, you know, that person. But it depends on what they did and what we're talking about as well.
Yes, for sure. And so that brings me actually to our next topic, which is about the word woke. And how, you know, politicians are now, I'm not going to get too specific, but they're, you know, this is off of CBS Mornings, which I watch CBS Mornings sometimes. And apparently now it's a big deal. Politicians are now using the word woke, and they're kind of weaponizing the word, because it's like they're calling it like the woke, you know, the woke politics, and they're making it sound like it's not a real valid word, right? So what was funny to me when I was watching this morning is like people are using this word, and the news anchor, what is his name? Tony DeCoppel, I think. He was asking people, like, what do you think the word woke means? And they were saying it. They were like, oh, yeah, the woke this and the woke that. And he's like, what do you think the definition of that is? And the 2 people he was talking about were like, oh, well, I don't really know what it means. It's like, but you're having a whole conversation about it. It's like you decided to look to say something about this and you haven't even looked it up. And I paused this right here because it's like, okay, really what woke means, like in this day and age, and it says it right here, and I mean it's pretty accurate: aware and actively attentive to important facts and issues. So now they're spinning this in the political world to say, like politicians are, to say like, oh, your freedoms are going to be taken away by these woke topics and woke this and woke that, and there's hundreds of thousands of people who are not going to bother to Google it or to look up like, wow, this word is being used or what it actually means. They're just going to start using it, right, as like as a bad word. It's wild.
First of all, how do you use a word that you don't know the definition of? That's crazy. But then, you know, I think that a lot of times in politics that they do stuff like that because it wakes up a pun intended, a certain demographic of people. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, now I hear you using this word. Let me see why you're using this word or whatever. And that's interesting that is like something that's a topic on the news.
Oh, it definitely, and I think I'm so glad. I'd be so glad when they cover things like this, because this is like the everyday stuff that we're actually experiencing present day. Sometimes this is kind of a sidebar, but sometimes I think about how, because we have access to social media and because we can go back and like really look things up and see someone saying something real time, or like, you know, like this happened earlier today, like because we have access to like different footage and different resources, I wonder how much different it was when you could only watch the news when it was on, right, and just take their word for it, because this is a different day and age. Most of the time I see a lot of things that are like breaking on social media as opposed to seeing it on the news, which I prefer, to be honest with you, because it's like, oh, this is like someone's real like footage of what was happening, so I could see it for myself without somebody saying like earlier today, you know what I'm saying, and make their own narrative, like we were just talking about earlier, like this lady with $800 of parking tickets and $500 of liquor.
That's the first thing and the crazy thing is that whenever they're trying to discredit somebody, the first thing they do is put together a string of those like different, you know, statements from moments that they probably found through their past or whatever. But I mean, okay, so this discussion has probably been a topic in other areas as well. So it's just interesting that it came over to politics or whatever. But it's just like I think it's that video that they did. I think it's along with this, the one with Saucy Santana and Trina. You saw that? No voting, no bucking.
No, I did not see that, but I heard about it.
All right, yeah, we'll talk about that later or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I like to hear stuff like this on the news or whatever, I guess, because it opens up, you know, dialogue other places or whatever. But like you said, like back in the day, they had no choice but to rely on whatever the media said. And I mean, they could talk about it amongst themselves, or, you know, whoever, did you see the news today, or whatever was in the newspapers, you know what I mean? And so like, I honestly could have to imagine that. I mean, just having the knowledge now that somebody says something on TV, I can fact check it right now. Like I do that.
Yes.
I'd be like, that's not true. Like, anyway, you know, you can look it up right now, catch somebody in a moment or whatever. But like, I just couldn't imagine just relying on the news and being like, not being able to see what anybody else is saying. But that's why when the quarantine had first started, I was following a lot of different people from different areas that were like vloggers and stuff, because those people are in like real areas that the cameras are probably not going to go to all the time. They were in like the one dude I was following, he was like right there in Minneapolis when they were like burning stuff up and doing the curfews and they had the National Guard or whatever. Like he was right in the middle of it, and the news wasn't showing the stuff that he was showing. Like he was walking up and talking to people, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, this is like the new age of the way media is going to go. And a lot of times mainstream media gets their stuff from small like bloggers that are like doing stories on that stuff. Like I feel like a lot of the people that I watch sometimes they come out with stuff like before, like the Plainest Jane did it. She came out with something because she watches the stuff that goes down on the internet and she knows what, right? And then once she made the post about this, I can't remember what specifically the subject was, but she posted it. I saw it on hers first because I follow her and I got notifications. And then I follow TMZ too. TMZ posted it like an hour or two later after she posted. And so, it was like, okay, that's tight. But that is actually what happens a lot. Like, I think a lot of these people, especially the people who like full-time bloggers that take their whatever their niche is seriously, like they have way more information than the news does a lot of times.
Yeah, because they have more time and more of a platform. It's like, I'm watching the CBS thing. They got 6 minutes to make their point. Mm-hmm. In a blogging life, right? Like a Plainest Jane or someone like this has ample time to sit there and break down the facts and say, ask questions and like think about this. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm
sorry to cut you off. The added element too is that, if somebody wants to interview somebody, they can just reach out to that person. The person decides whether they want to go on that platform or not. Because I've seen a lot of people go on smaller platforms because it's just an extension of your audience. You never know who's going to be watching or whatever. And so like, that's like the added benefit versus the news. It's like, okay, y'all curated all this and gave us this little sip of whatever you wanted us to have. But the person who is passionately like, this is what I want to do, they're taking more time to find more information. They're talking longer than 6 minutes or whatever. I feel like media, and this isn't what we're talking about, but I like the media and a lot of people who were like in mainstream, like television and stuff like that. Once COVID hit, like they all ran to the internet because that was the only way they could continue doing their job. You know what I'm saying? Like they had like the stuff that they came out with in the beginning of the pandemic, like when DJ Nice was doing the parties or whatever, and then they started the and then they had a remake of, I want to say, was it Girlfriends, or it was funny, they were doing like a, in the day we have people doing those stuff in the radio stations, like it would just be a recording of their voice, but they would be acting out, it would just be like talking out loud about what was going on. Maybe like a narration of a book, but it was like a play. But you couldn't see it. You could just hear what was going, like hear what they were saying and stuff like that. But like they had to change the way that they were doing business. So now, like a person like Kamisha Reviews, for instance, like she gets a lot of interviews with people that I'm sure she didn't think she was going to get when she first started. But now, she's really getting a lot of good interviews that I'm sure a lot of other bloggers would like to have. But she interviewed Taylor from Big Brother, who won the other day, and she interviewed her boyfriend too. But I think like it just opened the door for a lot of regular people to give good news, because like I said, a lot of the stuff that, that happens, you don't get that real time situation that you would get if me or you just walked outside and was like, hey, down here and we're here. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't get that same thing on Fox or whatever, because we wouldn't be censoring anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, I like to look for those things when and I don't know how I got here on this conversation, but I like to look for those content creators who like are like right there in the middle of whatever's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we got on that because of the idea of like, talking about social media versus like mainstream news media. And so I think what's really interesting, and I actually brought up something else, but I'm about to bring this up first, and then we're going to go back to that. But I think it's really interesting because like even the whole thing about George Floyd, I feel like George Floyd it wasn't about him, it was about the things that were happening in the community that have been happening for centuries. But, that probably wouldn't have even gotten as much attention if we were not on quarantine, because it was a time where people were sat down like that, like there wasn't a lot going on. We were under quarantine. It was a time where everybody was kind of like exposed to the same video at the same time, and it became outrageous. I think a lot of these millions of people would have been just involved in the hustle and bustle. It would have been a news story that they may have seen, may have not, and it wouldn't have been an opportunity for everybody to be discussed it together. But it was like we kept seeing that video over and over, and no one could make sense of it. So it's like, well, we got to do something about this. We're all disgusted. We have to do something about this. And I feel like that's really the only reason that, and mainstream, just to be fair, mainstream news media did help with that, because we kept seeing that image over and over. And that's kind of like,
okay. So I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
Do think that we would have I don't think that, like, not we, but I don't think that it would have gone as gotten as big as it did, as fast as it did, because everybody saw what happened at the same time, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Because we were all, sitting there, whatever. But off topic real quick, but kind of on topic. Did I talk to you about the pastor that got robbed in his church?
I saw that footage.
Okay, so then he kind of got hooked up with Tucker K at some point, and they were doing some other stuff. But the interesting fact about him is that his father was, I think, murdered by the police back in and the crazy thing, he was killed, but the altercation wasn't even his fault. I think he went to go help his brother or something like that. I read the article in one of my videos on what's going on. And it was interesting because he was like a modern day a George Floyd from back then.
Of his day.
And I didn't hear, Bishop Whitehead was talking about it, but I guess people wasn't paying attention to him back then or whatever. But I found that out when he came out about the people robbing the church or whatever. But anyway, but yeah, so back to what you were saying, I think we saw it all at the same time versus not being able to see it all at the same time to get mad at the same time. But
yes,
back in the day, if they didn't have cameras, we didn't have the internet or anything like that. The only time people heard about that stuff was through word of mouth, right? And it's like the same things are going on now that were going on back then, but there's just cameras around now.
There's cameras and there's witnesses. And I love that you brought that up, because it's like when we see things like that, it's just like if you saw something weird at a restaurant or you saw something on the street corner, you might look around and be like, did anybody else see that? Did you see that? You might make eye contact with a stranger. Did you see that? Did you see what I just saw? Now it's a thing, because if it's just you who saw it, then it's like, wow, I can't believe I just saw that. On with your day. But it's like if two people connect, or if more than two people connect, and they're like, no, I saw that too. One of them is going to be like, let's go see if we can do something about it. Let's see if this person needs help. I've seen that where somebody got in an accident and then two people pulled over and they're like, let's go check on the guy, make sure he's okay. I actually had a weird, strange situation like that where we saw this guy flip his car. It was like, he ended up being super drunk too. He flipped his car and he was selling 4 cars pulled over before the cops got there. We're just trying to figure out if the guy's okay. He's like, I'm drunk. I just caught my girlfriend cheating on me. And oh my God, da, 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 da. And then somebody had called the police. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to tell them that I've just had too much to drink. And we were over there no, don't tell them. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. And they were tell them the part about the cheating, but don't tell them that you had too much to drink. I was thinking if I can find out. And then we were I was like, are you thirsty? Do you want something to drink? He was like, no, I'm not thirsty. I had one of those 1.5 liter Deer Park waters in my car that I hadn't opened. I had a couple of them because I used to keep them in my car. I went and gave it to the guy, here, just try and drink this. I've never seen someone crush a water as this man proceeded to crush a water. He drank that whole thing and the bottle crushed, talking about he wasn't thirsty. I was like, dude. And really what I was thinking to myself was listen, buddy, you're about to spend the night in jail. You're going to need to hydrate. But he
all right, this is going to happen. You're going to go to jail, but
let's take care of you real quick. Try to get your together before the cops get here, and then we're out. But anyway, my point is, you see these things, and if you're the only person who saw them, then it's almost like it didn't happen. But George Floyd was not like that. We all saw it. We could not deny that we all saw it, and everybody had to be and I remember how, excuse me, but the whites were so shocked. How could this to a human being. And it's just like, yeah, man, told you this has been happening for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's nothing new about what is happening. It's been happening, but they were able to not have it broadcast every time something happened. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm like, at this point, everything is so far more egregious than it was that, the cameras don't even matter sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So somebody's asking about what I just brought up on the screen, and I'm about to play it in a second, but I wanted to get to this topic real quick. Yes, magnetic repellent. I'm getting ready to tell you that in 1 second, because I did want to talk about how, I love Gary Vee. Gary Vee talks a lot about like how to manage your business on social media, and all that. He made a really good point on the Drew Barrymore show about how social media is being utilized and what it was meant to be utilized for. Because I guess Mark Zuckerberg made a comment about how, people are consuming content, but really social media was created to connect people. And so there's a fine balance between just being some sort of hermit and just consuming all the content and substituting human interaction for that. Because you can interact with humans through social media, but if you're just consuming the content and you're not having experiences with other human beings, then that kind of like it's not what it's built for. But honestly, just like Gary Vee said, people are going to do what they want to do. It's about content creators like us, like you guys, who are responsible for creating content that makes people want to interact with you, that makes people want to have a human experience, that you're making your content about life, about experiences, and you can't escape that. Like, we're living lives, you know what I'm saying? But I think
not only that, we all have different perspectives. So that's why all of these like podcasts and things do very well, because, just because I'm watching this podcast don't mean I don't want to hear about the other side or whatever. Like, you want to hear different people's, what is it, like soliloquies or, takes on what their human experience is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could watch the same video and get something totally different. And I think that's the beauty in the whole thing of social media, right? But there are people who use it in a different way. And if, for the people who are like extra introverts and don't want to, have that social relationship with like other people, then I could see like, I could see how it could get really bad, especially if it gets into a situation where you also know how to do a lot of things with technology. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's where the whole like, you come up with like people hacking and doing stuff like that. Like, they're just literally, taking it that far. But anyway,
no, but see, and that's what I wanted to get into, because that's one side of, look, we're living in an age that has never been lived before, right? Like, when they talked about in the 90s, like the information superhighway, and we thought we were doing the most in the AOL chat rooms, and now it's gotten to
wait, let's talk about that real quick, because back then not everybody had a computer, and so it was like, you don't know who's going to be online. You know what I mean? I remember the chat rooms. I remember the AOL, the dial-up and stuff like that. And now, fast forward to now, everybody and their mother can get their hands on a smartphone. So, like, it really is no excuse for you not to be able to Google shit. But I digress.
Yeah. Look, so true. And here's what I was talking about earlier. We'll get ready to get into this because magnetic repellent kind of touched on it. But I wanted to talk about this side first, because we all have access to this beautiful thing called social media. This is not something that dates back, 30 or 40 years. Like, social media, I mean, you could call AOL social media, but like, it really has blown up in the age of Facebook and Instagram. So dating back maybe like a good 15 years tops. And it's like one of those things that we have the responsibility over as its users to use as we wish, but also to create relationships and communities within it to sustain us and make it good. Now, here's the other side of it, because I do often wonder about, well, where is this thing going?
People,
what?
No, she said, Ellen said AOL chats with life, and then Monique said
Hello.
location.
Yes, I remember that. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Listen,
my
and
goodness.
this is
Now
where
I
we
feel old
started
as
with the
hell.
social media.
Okay.
That was like the start of it. That was like the tweaking of like, you know what I'm saying? And James's mom always talks to me about, shout out to Miss Sandra, talks to me about the party line. How they used to get on a party line, which is like you call into a line and it's like everybody's on there. And I can only imagine it's like one of those chat rooms that we be in, like the
only on the phone. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, they were just going out of style. Like I remember when we used to live in DC when we were young. I remember hearing about the party line. I remember that. Yeah.
But so now we're all up on the look. So then we thought we was doing it with the AOL. Now we've gotten.
Then we had message boards. Message boards were out before.
Yes.
Like how, like, you know, kind of like when my was out and stuff. And then like I remember being on a message board, and it was kind of like just, I mean, they still have them around, but it was just kind of like how, you know, you got your Facebook feed or whatever. This was just like a place where you can have different topics, and you know, it was all these people, and you can, you know, frequent whatever rooms. So it was like, yeah, it was. I remember that
like
too.
Reddit or like Quora. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, like those
but
are
it was
still
like,
around.
But it was like, it's kind of like now, like, you know, we always see, you know, Ellen and Monique and like our regulars, right? And so I'm the same way. Like, I mean, it was the same way. Like when we go into other people's chats, and like I always see, you know, Monique and Ellen, like we kind of frequent the same circle of people. So like we have like, you know, like I know them. I don't know them, but I'm saying like I know that person comments over here, comments over here, and we can have different dialogue or whatever. So on the message board, it was like that too. It was like, you know, if I come here every day and I'm posting on this message board all day, we kind of develop like some banter back and forth. And it's like, oh, let's go see what it was this girl. It was this girl named Sid Vicious. I'll never get her because she was funny as hell. Because it was the Russ Parr message board. So it was people who used to call into the Russ Parr show sometimes, whatever, but they would also be on this message board. But it was this girl named Sid Vicious because she was funny as I don't know what, and we will always be commenting on the same stuff or whatever. So we became kind of cool or whatever. But it's funny how like stuff like that, like I'm remembering it now. Like I don't know at what point in my life that I just decided, oh, I'm not going to comment on that no more and just move on and forget about it, because it seems like I just kind of just stopped. Some stuff you just stop doing, and you look back and be like, damn, I remember this, I remember that. And somehow
it just happens that way. But guaranteed, if that lady Sid Vicious is still out there, she's still out there commenting on something, and you might run back into her again. But this is and if you're interested in the same thing, it's likely. You know what I'm saying? Ellen is so funny. She said her screen name was V Bout It. This is so funny because this is like a part of us. Like these are things, and like this was back before people were like taking snapshots of your Twitter. So, you know, this is an opportunity for us to engage.
My God.
Hello. So now it's something different, but it evolves into whatever we want to, you know, whatever we're going to evolve it into. And my next question and topic is, where is it going? Because that's why I had this Megan Demita. I don't know if you saw this video or this, it's not a video, it's a trailer of
this hold on. Is this the video right here?
Yeah, I almost want to play the trailer.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take it off mute when it goes. But real quick though, Monique said her screen name was Lady Bow Wow 23. So I gotta share what my screen name was. I had two of them. Just Chilling, which that's my Twitter now. JSTCHYLN, Just Chilling, because I be just chilling. Or my other one was Big Red. Okay, but anyway, anyway, yeah. See, when it starts,
I don't remember what mine was.
I just know I was Big Red, and I was Big Red, 2 G's and 2 D's, and it's this dude that still followed me on Facebook that was in that fucking. He still followed me on Facebook that was in that message group because there was a meet and greet, and some of them came and we met in person or whatever, and we stayed friends. And actually, you know what? I talk to, but I know them from that. But this one particular dude, always, if I like his shit or whatever, he will come back and be like, "What you still doing? What you doing? You still got that big red ass?" And I'll be like, "This nigga."
Oh my gosh. People be wilding, yo. All
I
right,
have
I'm gonna
like
play
big
this. I'm
range.
gonna take this off mute, and we're gonna play this. And I feel like it's a good 90 seconds. So, but this is okay. I'm just gonna play it, and then we'll talk about it.
Model 3 generative Android.
Do you want to hang out? Okay.
It's nice to have a friend. Megan, your goal is to protect Katie from harm. Eat the toppings, Katie.
If you force child to eat vegetables, they'll be less likely to choose those foods.
Megan, turn off.
I thought we were having a conversation.
Make her say something.
You should probably run. Megan, she pushed Brandon onto the road. I won't let anything harm you.
Megan, turn off.
Recalibrating response model.
What's wrong with you?
Don't worry, Katie. I won't let anything harm you. Ever again.
Okay, so go ahead and react to that.
So first of all, you know that I like comedies and I like dramas and action movies. I don't really do scary movies like that. But I will watch them sometimes, but I gotta watch a comedy after. But this shit just is the reason why I'm not getting no type of robot that they come out with to clean my house. I'm not doing it. I'm so sorry. Because even if it doesn't do anything like this, while I'm asleep, I'm still gonna always have one eye open. Like, is that motherfucker standing there at the foot of my bed? I can't. No, I can't. That's crazy. She a little doll that got a grown up face. This is like,
So this is my
a lot of
point
people
for
go
bringing
crazy.
this up. This is my point for bringing this up.
The last thing I want to say is whenever they do movies, I always be like, what boardroom were they in? And who the fuck came up with this concept? Where did it come from? So anyway, I'm done.
Right, because I feel like this, there's reality based in some of these things, and like just because a mind conceived it, it feels like it's on the way, right? Like you conceived this concept, it's now living. Now there's all of us thinking about it. It is very creepy, but I feel like, look, I know Elon Musk is somewhere in a lab building robots, and I saw that movie iRobot, and I know everything's not a movie, but does.
Let me remind you of whatever that movie was back in the day, where all of the I used to watch it all the time. Remind me of what it was. It was where all the appliances came and like after the people. I cannot remember the name of that movie.
Was it the guy with Quaker Oats in it? I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name right now. But like all the appliances came to life, and they were attacking the owners or something like that. Like, yeah, and look, so the most relevant and obvious thing to me was like the iRobot movie, because it was an opportunity for us to see, like, look, intelligence is great for when you're utilizing it, but at some point, trends and things like that are going to go beyond what's really real. Or like that movie with Tom Cruise where he, man, what is the name of that movie? I slip in my mind right now. Where it was like he was going ahead of time, like he was getting people before they murdered people because he could read their minds, and like.
Yes.
And so here's the thing: they hadn't committed crimes yet, but you don't really know. I guess they did know what was going to happen.
Minority Report.
The idea is like, what is it?
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
When he was moving all like stuff that.
Yeah, and iRobot, it just reminds you that like technology can think, can follow trends to the point beyond trends. And it could see like, okay, so I already know that Alex and Siri and Google are always listening. So it just so happens that I don't really care. I don't have anything to hide, but it's like we are going somewhere with this, folks. You know what I'm saying? So we're kind of going to need to be social media connected so that if something really goes down.
If something happens, like honestly, this is not even a joke or whatever, because if something happens, like, and like when Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and stuff go down, like people automatically be like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? So But like when you're talking about Minority Report, so that was back in 2002. It was American science fiction action film directed by Steven Spielberg, loosely based on the 1956 short story The Minority Report. I didn't realize that it was based on a short story.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like,
see, like that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it's all fun and games right now, but I do feel like, at some point we are going to have to understand that we are in the age of these things happening. And like, even though you and I won't be getting these robots, I feel like there are people, like our neighbors are going to have them.
People who are waiting to do it.
Fact. And I mean, like, it's like they're not even thinking about it. So I just wondered, because I am going to watch this movie. I don't know if you can watch this movie, but this straight is super intriguing.
I'm going to watch because that's crazy.
And I'm like, I looked up the little girl who plays the robot and everything. And I'm just like, yo, this is fascinating to me because, first of all, the lady who plays the maker of the robot, the auntie, that was the lady from Get Out. I'll never forget her face because I remember when I saw Get Out and I was scared of her. But anyway, I was like, wow. But I'm gonna watch this movie, and I think there's gonna be things in it that, like, usually when you see movies like this, there is some truth in there. Like, just the fact that her name is Megan, and it was like she said somewhere in the beginning, like, what Megan means. It's like the name of the actual robot. But like, as wonderful as it is to be a part of this time of technology and social media, there's things like this that we kind of got to look out for too. That was my whole point.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking about, like, okay, movie aside, let's say we got robots, right? Whatever. Like, I mean, even now they were having some issues with the Alexa where you had to like reprogram your Alexa to be able to, not pick up other people's, so people can pick up your signal or whatever. So what if somebody hack your robot? You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm good on that too. I mean, like, I'm gonna watch the movie, but I don't see myself ever getting any kind of robot or anything like that. It's just not my speed. I'll just let everybody else do that. But I ain't letting nothing in my house and then I gotta go to sleep. Nah. But I mean, like,
sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep because I wouldn't be able to sleep either,
especially not after I see this movie. So anyway, all right, so we're gonna move on to.
Wait, real quick. Ellen said, "Time out, y'all."
This is Megan. Model.
You said what?
You gotta be kidding me. Right now.
Is she serious? Look, I can see I'm gonna have to Google it now. Funny. That would be really funny because, yeah, I mean, look,
that is the way that, the world we live in now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so have you seen the rapper that's like AI, artificial intelligence?
I think I did see something about that.
I was like, what is going on? What is this?
But like, this is the thing too, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff about AI. And look, and the metaverse is coming.
Chucky and Megan appear to be beefing in a new series of tweets. Oh my God.
I love that. I love that. BuzzFeed has the tweets. I absolutely love that. I can see that being hilarious.
Megan ended him. Oh my God. Oh my God. See, I didn't even think about that. But see, that's how you get people who aren't into really, really into scary movies and stuff like that. That's how you get them engaged, because now I'm going to go look at these tweets. I'm probably going to watch the video, but I would like to say and point out that you didn't even like scary movies at first. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to point out that when we went to go see that last Freddy Krueger when you were little, listen, we go to the film. How old were you?
I was not here for it, yo. I had to
like
run.
7, or I don't know how old you were, but like we went to the front. I got her in the seat in the movie. We sit down, and then as soon as the movie theater lights go down, she was up the aisle. Pum! I had to get up and run up the aisle and grab her. But fast forward, I did when Blair Witch came out. I went to go see it in the movies, and I walked out that motherfucker because I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh no, I did not. So by then, I must have been in the scary movie, but I really thought that was real. See, this is how your mind works because I literally was thinking to myself that I had seen those old news clips, but they were fake. And I literally thought that was a real thing. And I was scared to go. Like, I was in high school. I was like in my last year of high school or something like that. I'm looking up some of these tweets.
Okay, y'all about to say Ellen, she sent the link.
Huh?
I just forwarded you the link that Ellen sent. It's on look in your Instagram messages.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's crazy. But she said you was already there. You're on BuzzFeed. That's the one. That's what she said. That's what you're looking at.
But that's probably not yesterday. Evil robotic dolls because of her name is. Oh, maybe that's what I pulled up.
Okay, yeah. This is crazy. Like,
yo, this is so funny. I love it when companies beef on Twitter, like Wendy's, when they be talking trash and stuff like that to McDonald's.
Yeah, that is funny. That is funny. But
I love it. And look, Chucky is the original gangster. So I'm not mad that Chucky's mad. That said, there's
what? So I remember. I don't know. All this is making. So remember we used to live in Riverview Terrace, and, and our family and stuff used to live over there too. And I remember us being at home by ourselves. Where our parents were. I remember Rennie coming running down the hill because the commercial of Chucky on, and it was Chucky running down the hall talking about go see my home video, and Rennie was not having it. He ran all the way down to our house. I don't even know if he had those shoes.
I wouldn't be about it either, especially when you're a kid like that. It's that shit is wild. Okay, here's the beef right here. Chucky's like, everybody's trying to beat me. And then Megan responds back. Oh wait, not to be outdone. Megan responded,
my God.
You know you that dumb when you cause all this conversation. This is Beyonce.
See, okay, that would be fun as behind that, like whoever's responsible for doing that, like let me if I can put some tweets out here today. You know what I'm saying? This funny.
Is so funny.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
This is hilarious. I love it
because I did not know for pointing that out, sending a link because I did not know that was going on. Shouts out to Ellen for that.
Before and after. Oh my gosh.
So I guess we can expect to see a movie with them together. Listen to what the fuck I'm saying right now. All right.
Look, I'm here for it all.
What do we want to talk about anyway? Because
that's all. So I'm gonna give two little bits of news that I'm not happy about. So we have another divorce, which is sad for me, but I just want to talk about it. I love Cynthia Bailey. So Mike Hill and Cynthia Bailey have decided to go their separate ways. James had to remind me that they have only been married for 2 years. Yeah, I felt like it was longer than that. But it's so funny to me that the person who came to my mind when I saw this was Peter. And I was thinking about how he's probably somewhere at his bar, thinking see, I knew it wasn't gonna work out. Because I guess it feels some type of way when you marry somebody and then you get divorced and then they marry again and you're like, why couldn't you make it work with me? But I mean, I'm not saying he said this to me, guys. I could just see him just because I feel like I got to know him. Huh?
This part that Ellen said right here. Child never got married.
Yeah.
I didn't I don't remember the dynamic that I picked up on them, but I remember thinking, do you really want to do that? Kind of thing.
I really was rooting for them. Not that I thought they were gonna,
I'm gonna say this. I don't not root for people who are trying to get married, but I think I just like Cynthia. And I kind of wish her and Peter would have stayed together because I feel like even though they didn't work out, they actually were a good match with each other or whatever. But I don't know. And this little statement that people always put, we'll always have love for one another. We have decided to go our separate ways. it's so PR-ish. And not that I expect them to like tell us all their business or nothing like that, but I don't know. I just makes me
Why
whenever I
even
see
make
it,
a
I'm like,
statement?
what are you really
Almost.
trying to say? What do you really want to say?
Here's my thing. It's like, why even make a statement? And I even saw something on, because we talked about Tia Mowry last week. I saw this
I mean,
weird
if it's
post.
public, if it's public, I understand why they have to say something, because if they don't, somebody else is gonna come up and be like, "Oh, look what's happening." You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just would not. I just cannot take the decided to go our separate ways for what it is. When I see it, be like, okay, we'll just wait a couple weeks and see what else comes out.
Here's my whole problem with, like, even when we talked about Tia Mowry last week, I get it. You gotta like address your fans or whatever, but she put out this weird post with her like reflecting and playing this audio about loving yourself and it's my time, and I just felt like that was pretty contrived. I don't really know what's real and what's for public at that point, because you're obviously not going to sit there, you know, recording yourself sobbing and eating ice cream or whatever it is that you do to get through the hard times. But you're posting all these like uplifting, like, you know what I'm saying? So it is very one-sided in PR.
She works in the land of pretend, and she's been working in the land of pretend. So I'm not saying that she's faking, because I don't think that. But I do think that a lot of actors have the skill to be able to carry themselves one way when something else is really the way that they are feeling inside or whatever. And I think that she just probably that lifestyle, she's probably just learning how to love herself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then the other thing that I'll say is, you mentioned not you're not gonna hold a camera and like record yourself sobbing. This lady did that on the internet. She made her son pretend like he was gonna cry. She got caught. She forgot to edit that part out the video. But then I also say that the lady whose dog shit in her mouth, she posed for the picture of the shit after it happened. He was sick or something. She was sleeping on the couch, and apparently he had diarrhea and shat in her mouth. But I really think that I watched it on.
I can't even believe I've never heard of this.
That she posted with a picture, like, bitch, oh hell no, ain't no time for that. It's operation. Get all the shit away from your mouth. Like, we're doing. But she posted the picture and then she talked about it or whatever. But Jane had talked about it and she was like, I really wanted the dog because what's going on? He did it on purpose.
Yeah.
But I was like, even if he did, I wouldn't stop to take a picture of it.
That's where it all went wrong.
Anyway, but back to her or whatever. These what do you think about the comment, like the ways,
the comment that they're making about love is a beautiful thing and we'll always love each other? I mean, who is that for? I guess it's their closure. I mean, I want to give them respect to be like telling their own story, but I just feel like, all right, part of me feels like, how could you? All right, see, this is why people shouldn't be in other people's relationships. Because I'm like, dog, you guys got married in 2020. Like, it's not even the end of 2022. Like, did you really try? But I'm not trying to say that they didn't, because I'm not in their household. But I just feel like, I mean, like, spend a couple years unhappy and then see how that goes and see if you can.
See, but that's not the age living.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, women would, he's a provider, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Okay,
yeah.
He can do whatever he wants pretty much, and then we'll stay together for the sake of the family unit, right? But now it's like, if you're saying that you want me to be miserable for the sake of something else, I'm not gonna do it. It's a lot of people who've decided they don't even want relationships anymore. You know what I'm saying? That they're going to just be like I'm the single one. Or but it's men like that too. Like there's men going, hey, MGTOW women, men or whatever. But I was about to say MGTOW women. But like it's a whole different thought process now as far as relationships now. Like it's a business, you know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of people are really treating it now, or whatever. Like I admire the people who get married for love, but that's like not the majority these days. People just doing it either want to say they, oh, I'm getting married, and then come to find out, they didn't do it for that. They didn't do it for love. So
Yeah, that's a good point too, because I always think like people are in love and that's, but also I do think there's this element to like just like societal expectations and like maybe some people don't even really want to be in a relationship, but they just feel the pressure to because that's what you're supposed to do because that's what everybody does or that's what the pathway is, right? So I don't agree. I definitely agree with that. Like people should not be in relationships just to be in a relationship. But when somebody does enter in a relationship, I guess I'm taking blame here on the fact that like I just assume that theirs is like mine, like you know what I'm saying, like somebody, I think I said this last week, but it was Funky Dineva was on an interview panel on Fox Soul and was saying how he was like, I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody. I'm not going to just be in a relationship for no reason. And if I don't have more fun with you than I do by myself, then there's no reason to be in a relationship. I definitely like that was the best way that I've heard it explained, because it's like if I'm not having a better time with you than I'm having by myself, then what are you here for?
But right,
what are you real last question? What are you even here for?
I'm with you on that. Listen, we gotta enhance each other's life, and however that may look. Like it doesn't necessarily have to mean like we're physically doing something to enhance each other's life, but I want to have fun when you come around, and I want you to have fun when I come around. You know what I mean? If we don't get along on that level, then I don't know what we're doing. Like,
yeah, it's wild.
I'm with you on that. It's
wild. Okay, so the next topic is it seems sad at first, but it's actually not, because everything turned out okay.
What?
And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of why we actually gathered here today, folks. This is Brandy. So I heard about this and I got scared for a second because I was like, yo, not my Brandy now. So yesterday, I think it was, she was hospitalized because they were scared that she had a seizure. I don't know if she actually had a seizure or not, but she's saying that she's recovering. She's taking doctor's orders, and she's getting rest and all that. And I'm so glad, because I think a couple people may have known this, but like a couple of weeks ago, maybe not even that long ago, Ray J came out with some weird ass video about him maybe possibly jumping. I did not like the response to that. Somebody was like, we'll jump. I don't think we should be saying that to people in this day and age, because you just never know how much gas somebody has left in the tank. And if somebody's feeling like they want to end their life, you certainly don't want to be the person to go ahead and just nudge them along. So I didn't like that, but I also thought it was kind of odd that he would feel comfortable sharing it. But I guess people cry out for help in the ways that they cry out. But something's going on over there in Norwood land, and I just wish them all the best. I was really glad to hear that Brandy did recover from whatever happened. I don't know if it was a seizure. That's what reports are saying. But I just keep her in my prayers, because Brandy has blessed me on so many levels, from Moesha to all those albums that she gave. I mean, like Brandy, they call her the vocal Bible for a reason. She's a beast, and I just appreciate everything that she's contributed. So that's what
I definitely hope that she's all right. But my skeptical ass is, I don't believe nothing that comes out in the media. Like, I'm not saying none of it's true, but I'm just saying that I need to see a certain amount of things. Like, I need to see certain things to draw my own conclusion, right? I can see this article. Okay, yeah, she's recovering, and she, they got a nice picture of her. She's following doctor's orders, getting the rest she needs due to dehydration and low amounts of nutrition, which is that malnutrition. Like, so what are you eating? How long does it take to become malnutritious? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. I'm not trying to check her, whatever her statement that they put, but I always have to question and be like, what really happened?
Yeah. Was it a drug overdose? Look, we're putting this shit out there. I don't know.
Wait a minute. How did we go?
She doesn't give me those vibes, but I'm just saying that. We don't know what's happening. Thing.
But what is considered a drug? Because it could be anything. It could be in the way that she's eating. It could be,
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it could be something else. It could be anything. So I get what you're saying. You gotta take everything with a grain of salt because.
But then I also understand that we really don't. It's none of our business, really. Like, whatever they say is what we have to use as fodder or information or whatever we want to use it for. But like, I don't know. At this point, I'm not ashamed to say I question every fucking thing. I might not disagree with it, but I'm gonna stop and think and be like, do we think that makes sense? And if it don't make sense, I'm gonna go look up some other shit and just be like, yeah, I don't think that makes sense because it is.
No, you're right, Monique. I'm not trying to make Moesha crackhead. I really don't get that vibe from her. I just literally threw that statement out there.
Time out. I did not say that. I just said that I did not believe that she, like, I just was like, okay, who says low amounts of nutrition to me? It's like, why? They could have just been like she was malnutritious and dehydrated, or they could have said she was starving, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Low amounts of nutrition is weird to me, but I just want to make it clear that I did not say the drug part. She said the drug part. And then I was like, how did you go all the way there?
How did you get there?
I just want to go on record.
And I didn't say it definitively. I asked, I was like, was it this?
Hey,
and I don't get
that's
that from
all
her.
yours.
Let me just clarify. Let me just clarify. I don't even get that from her. She doesn't seem like that type of person. I do making a statement.
Okay, so I'm gonna retract my statement. Maybe I did say that because I did say that we don't know what they're doing in Hollywood. It could be.
Yeah.
So I'll take that, Monique. I was wrong.
I'll take it because I'm the one that made the statement. I'm the one that made the statement, and
I just started playing my words back in my head. I was like, "Oh yeah, you did."
She doesn't actually give me that vibe. I literally was just making a statement to ask a question like, "Could it be this? Could it be that?"
Whatever. Right. I hope she is all right, and it shocked me when I heard it because I was like, "Oh, like you said, like not Brandy," but listen, it's 2022, about to be 2023. I've seen the craziest shit that I ever thought I would see up until this point. So I'm just like, now a lot of stuff could happen. So
a lot of stuff could happen, including this next thing. We're going to jump right into it that I never saw coming. The other Sabrina, like, okay, look, I know that was a big jump, but we're just gonna get right into it because we're now like hour and a half in. I gotta get to this because we gotta get ready to love.
This is funny to me.
This is what I never saw this coming, but when I thought about it before I even saw the photo, I was like, oh, I guess I could see that. And let me tell you why, because it's not really a good reason necessarily. Golly, I'd be so messy sometimes. They both seem the same amount of like not engaged to be okay with each other. Like both of them seem like they have these sort of like esoteric expectations. Like they both seem kind of passive aggressive or something like that. I can't really put my finger on what I want to say.
No,
right now,
I get it because I feel like I could see them in a conversation. I could see him talking with his voice like, well, "You're gonna do that, or maybe
were you gonna do that, or is that the best answer?" And her being like, I don't know. I guess we're gonna see.
Dynamic is gonna work though. I think this dynamic is work. But somebody look at the comments. Is that somebody said it's giving father and daughter tease, but love. I thought it was funny because when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, is that his daughter? But then the picture was small in my defense. And then I clicked on it. I was like, oh, I think I heard about this before it came out, like back months ago. Like somebody had a clip of them sitting down together or something or whatever. But I think this dynamic might work, but I do think it's funny that he picked the Sabrina. I think that's hilarious because there were so many other girls in the cast of Ready to Love in all of the seasons, and he picked the Sabrina. So that's funny to me, but
like here's my thing. She's an attractive young lady. And I would imagine, especially because their two casts were so close in proximity, like a lot of the time when they were shooting one, what was it? It wasn't Baltimore. They did, was it Potomac? Yeah. Ready to Love.
She was on Potomac and he was on the DMV season.
So here's the thing. A lot of the scenes that they shot in either one were just in the DMV period. It wasn't like Potomac, they did some stuff in DC.
I'm not following her. What the fuck? Okay.
So here's the thing. I need to follow her too, because she's
I
been
did see
posting.
a
I need
clip
to be up
posted.
on that.
I did see a clip posted months ago. Like they were somewhere and she was sitting down. They were like about to talk to each other or something. Something was happening in the picture. And I was like, oh, okay. But I just think it's funny that
this just goes to show like they run in the same circles because they were both, obviously introduced to this area. And I mean, they could have known each other before. They don't know all their life. But my thing is, it is
because she's from, I forgot where she was from. Okay, anyway.
It's interesting to me that they ended up together because I don't know. They both kind of gave me this open-ended, like they didn't really know where they were going with things. Like neither of them really got it, in my opinion. Like neither of them really were like spot on with their like awareness. And I felt like, well, it would make sense that the two of them got together because maybe they can help each other find their way. But it is giving some sort of like daddy-daughter vibe. I'm not going to lie. It's wild.
I'll say this. Like, I think that the Ready to Love franchise is like a whole like fraternity / sorority. Like once you're on it, you're kind of like, commingled with everybody else. I think that Ready to Love should do a season where they have them all come together because you don't know who might be attracted to who. You know what I'm saying? It just so happens that they were their shows were in the same area or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of people within that cast of all the seasons that could probably like find love or whatever. But I don't know. I do think it's funny, but I do think that they probably are going to fit each other because, like you said, they have the same type of attitude. And Monique said, I think they're a perfect match. They can go pretend they want kids together while living single, selfish lives.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is a perfect comment.
I think they will make it. I think they will mix. I'll put it like that. But
the thing is, I don't dislike either of them. I just did not understand what they were doing. Or maybe they are.
Yeah,
maybe
she is from Cali.
I could tell they have so much in common.
Never had a chance with Joy. What'd you say, Faye?
I could tell they have a lot in common, and maybe that is one of the things that they're both Panamanian.
But they're both in Panama. People were saying that though. I mean, I've heard a couple of people say that when the season ended, because even when when the new season first started, or after when the second season in DMV was over, I started to think about how if Sabrina from the first season was on the second season, who she would have been like talking to. Like I could see her talking to Donovan, I could see her talking to Clifton. You know what I'm saying? I was like that. They kind of mixed some of the people up, and then Sabrina, this one could have been on the other show or whatever. But
yeah, I did have those thoughts too. Like, wow, maybe these people could have met these people. Yeah, I did think that.
I can't spell it. She's so funny. But yeah, I'm joking about it and everything because I think that they have personalities that are acquired. They have acquired taste personalities, and I think that it's funny that they found each other, and I think that they make a cute couple because, like, thinking about how they both were on the show, I'm like, okay. But to me, I'm gonna always have a chuckle knowing that he's gonna be calling her Sabrina when he really liked the other Sabrina too.
That is wild. I mean, I guess it's just, one of those coincidences like, oh, you ended up with Sabrina. Yeah. All right, let's get to this because this is the real meat and potatoes. I'm looking back at these cast members, and now that we're so far into the season, it's so funny to remember like, oh, you were on the show, weren't you? I've caught up on this of the last two because I don't even think we got to it last week as a topic.
Okay. I got one question for you though. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me see what Ellen said. She said Carmen did block Sabrina because Donnie was flirting with her allegedly. I didn't know that was why she blocked Sabrina, but I do remember Sabrina saying that she doesn't get along with some of the people because of how they acted after the show or whatever. But then they not even together, so that's crazy.
Carmen and Donnie are not together?
They broke up. Yeah, they broke up, I think. But I could see Sabrina with Donovan. I could see Sabrina with anyway, that's not what I was about to say.
Wait, which Sabrina?
Sabrina from the first show, Sabrina Soul.
Oh,
I can see her with Donovan.
I
But anyway,
could see her with Donovan.
what I was gonna say to you is that did you see Mike's Instagram?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So I'm gonna. My phone's about to die, but I'm gonna use my last bit of power
To send it to me.
to send you this so you can see what he does. But anyway, go ahead. You can talk until you see this.
So yeah, I'm gonna go to this right now. I'm looking at my messages right now, so I'm waiting for you to send me that. But here's the thing.
Did not mean to do that. Why the fuck?
What?
Okay. I was trying to copy the page and I followed him, then I tried to unfollow him, then I followed, then I tried to unfollow. The button was just getting stuck. So now it looks like I tried to follow him like 3 or 4 times and unfollowed him. What the fuck is happening right now? Okay. Oh well.
So here's the thing. All right, so I gotta do a little bit of recap because the last time we talked about this was before they went to the house together, like the retreat. Or was it a retreat? I don't know what it was called. But they went to that mansion together.
The getaway,
yeah. So they went to the getaway, and I thought that was an interesting episode because that's when they played the game.
I do.
They
if you find any boredom to me, sorry.
They played the game, like the trivia game about, like, I think it was Trinica.
His sister and his mister. Or something like that. Her mister or something like that.
I don't remember what it was, but they was over there basically talking about, like who knows who better. And so they did the little elimination thing because it was like the people who were playing were Kayla was playing for Mike, and obviously Brandy, was in there too, but she got eliminated like first question. And then Trinica and what's her name? What's her name? I can't even see it. I'm old. Jamala were playing for her boo, Randall, and Trinica ended up winning the entire game. Now, I thought it was interesting because it's funny how the women who were not like the first picks of the men, those women knew more about those men. And that wasn't like a flag for them. I'm not saying it's a red flag that the woman that you picked doesn't know you. I'm just saying that like that should have been intriguing, I would think. Like, oh, this person who is not my first pick knows so much about me. Like, meanwhile, I'm over here with somebody who got eliminated because they didn't know as much about me. Like, maybe I should be more intrigued about like this person who's invested. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
like like a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. I was like, how could they not know those things? But then I was like, okay, well, I would, that would mean something to me. You know what I mean? But like dudes, who knows what they're thinking? And I sent you his page too. So
okay, I'm about to pull it up right now. And then Katie and Swayze, that threw me for a loop because I think the question was something like, what's more important, the bag or family? And she was like, the bag, and he was like, family. And then she got the nerve to be like, no, it's not. Like, hold up. Right. You're gonna tell him that it's not? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, over the retreat, so basically, Trinica won the date with Randall. They went on this little fake me out date where they was talking about mermaids and helicopters and whatnot.
Tommy hyped that joint up.
Yeah, they was over there getting like a foot massage and things like this, or like like a foot bath and sound bath and all that, and that was cute and all, but it didn't end up going anywhere because they didn't even end up together. He ended up eliminating her at the end, and it went to really drive the point home to me that he is super confused. I feel like Randall has no idea at that point in the process that we're watching it what's happening.
I think he doesn't have
any idea. I think he's literally just going through this and he's confused as hell, and he's just like not understanding that he's on a show, that he has to make choices. He's just like still dating everyone, trying to figure out his life. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. It really made me question whether they really understand and whether they really were like prepped on what the process is and what the point of the process is. Because, and maybe I don't understand it, but what I do understand is that you are far along enough in the process to know that somebody's going to get eliminated. And if you're leading them on to think that they still have a chance with you, then you don't belong on the show because you want to be with them.
See, but that's where it gets sticky, because it's like, you know, in the past we've seen people come on and make their choice right away, and then that's frowned upon because it's like, oh, they're not you know, they're not doing the process. But then you have people who, like Joy and Clifton, they chose each other first, but they still kind of went along the process. So it's kind of a part in there where it forces people to fake it for the game, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's where I think. But I think Randall is super stressed. I think that he really was kind of confused. But I think by the getaway, you should be ready to make a decision just for yourself, because I'm not about to be running around here trying to entertain all three of y'all motherfuckers. Like, no, I think we need to try to get done by then. But then you're dealing with all types of different personalities. There's no telling if it's gonna get there. You know what I mean? But it's like a little bit love, it's a little bit aim, and then it's like, you know, all of the other stuff just comes in with the person is, what kind of you got or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, Randall's stressed out. Randall's a little stressed.
Yeah, Randall's giving me, he's not even like giving me player vibes. He's giving me like I'm lost vibes. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't think you should really be like ready to, I'm not saying you should be ready to settle down and get married at this point, but you should at least kind of get an understanding of like which direction you're going in. And if you have that direction, understand that that is a human being and that they're not just going to stand there like that. These are not your sister wives now. It's like,
see, now I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And I think that the show gets them to, okay, so they're supposed to date all these people and find out and be ready for like an exclusive relationship once they come to the end, right? They're supposed to do that. But I don't know really what's going on. Okay, Ellen says on Kojo's live, someone said they should have switched it and had the guys answer. I would have liked to see that. See, now I think that would have been just as good, if better, because I really don't know who would have won that and the ones answer the question. You know what I'm saying? And I think that would have caused, honestly, production lost. They dropped the ball on that. That would have caused a lot more conversation and drama than the women getting it right, because the knowing like about the other women, I think that's very important. So yeah, that would have been good.
That would have been good, but I almost feel like that type of game is built for either couples who have been together for a while or for women, because women are more, I mean, look, it would have been better.
Probably would have got a whole bunch of I don't knows or whatever.
Yeah, like, oh, but they paying attention. What is your last name? Like,
that goes back to what I was saying about how they, like, at first it's like, okay, all the women have the pick of the litter, you know what I'm saying? And then by the time we get to these last episodes, the women are waiting to be chose, and that game played right into it, because it's like, okay, you know, I not only do I have to play the game for this person or whatever, you know, I might not even still get picked because, you know what I'm saying? I thought that date was cool or whatever, but it would have been better if both of them were on that same level. I just felt like Randall was uncomfortable. The date was on site. Like, how do you get comfortable like that? You know, why didn't he really, like, he was talking about mermaids and stuff like that, and it was gonna be this blow up date, but like, you could have did something better, because the place where they were at outside in the backyard was too close to everybody being able to see what's going on. Like, I feel like,
yeah, you can't really get comfortable. Yeah, you can't really get comfortable like that. Especially, you can't really get comfortable like that. And I don't really think he was really into Trinika like that anyway. But I did feel like it was a wasted date, because I don't feel like he was really into it. They had to do the whole stare down, and he wasn't into it.
So then I was thinking about how it would have been if somebody else would have won, right? Like, okay, what if Jamal and Randall would have won? Like, But that might have, like, I don't know, would that have been their thing if Mike and Brandy would that have been, was she gonna rub Brandy gonna rub Mike's feet? Which is all, you know what I'm saying, very interesting to me or whatever. But I mean, like I said, I
feel
think
like Mike and Kayla have chemistry, and I think it would have been interesting for them to get away, because another thing that I noticed on that episode was that they wasn't giving her no play when they was around their like sort of like first choices, but
Right.
then when they weren't around, then she was kind of like getting attention, and I just thought I wouldn't have been here for that. Like if I was her,
no.
I would have just been like, nah, go ahead. Like I
See,
probably
but then
would
you
have
come
just.
to a point where, okay, if you're playing the game for love, that's one thing, but you might come to a point where you're like, all right, well, I'm already here. This has happened, so now I gotta pivot, or I gotta figure out what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was like, why is she still there? Because neither one of her connections is
connected to her.
You know what I'm saying? But then staying on the show, we don't know what happened. Like this season is crazy. They keep talking about the reunion is going to be crazy, so I can't wait to see like what happens on the reunion, because they keep hyping it up. So, but like the other thing too, though, is that, you know, production has this thought in their mind of whatever it is that they want to present and the characters that they want to feel in these stories or whatever. And some of them don't even get to date everybody. You know what I mean? Like when I was watching Charisse, and she talking about, it was somebody that she didn't even go on a date with. And I can't remember who it was, but it's like, okay, well, if y'all saying that everybody gotta, you know, mingle around and date different people, why don't y'all make sure that everybody gets to date each other? Which is why I keep saying that they need to get rid of that mixer. Not get rid of it as in don't do it, but they need to change the format in a way where they can do like a couple of speed dating episodes where people actually sit in front of everybody and at least ask a couple of questions, test a little chemistry out from conversation. I can't, if they're there all those hours anyway, why not have a couple of like, you know, okay, well, just like when you want to cruise, oh, we're going to go do this tonight, we're going to go do that tonight. The mixer is this day, we're going to have a speed dating portion. If, you know, if we're doing brunch, we're going to have another speed dating portion. That way you get to make sure everybody gets in front of everybody. But yeah, that's why I think that they're really not, somebody really is writing all this shit out in the beginning of how they think it's going to go.
I see what you mean there, because I also feel like another element of this show, which they haven't really played up, but is obviously happening, is these friendships that are getting built behind the scenes. And I'm all there for friendship, but it's not called Ready for Friendship. And I feel like by the time some people get to be friends with each other, they start to eliminate like, oh, well, I don't want to go after that person because they're getting good with my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like perhaps I'm just gonna throw this out there, not that this is true, but like let's say Charisse was friends with Kayla, and Kayla really was kind of interested in Samson, but she was like, oh well, Charisse is in the Samson, so I'm just not even gonna you know pursue that.
I think that's happened in a couple of past seasons. I think that's happened. I think that's why, you know, I mean, Joy didn't want nobody else, but Paul was able to see, okay, I'm not gonna even try that because, you know, my boy Clifton is on that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that, you know, that's crazy.
I mean, because of the way that it is, like the way that you were saying, like there's no speed dating. This like it's all up to these people, and they're coming in with the habits that you already have of dating. So if you aren't ready to love, this is the chance for you to see like and get some real feedback to see like, okay, here's what turned me off about you. So this is probably what's been happening for the past 3 years.
But you're coming from a place where you're a married woman, so obviously you know how to be in a relationship, and you're not, you know, out here in these single streets. Even if a person's out here in these single streets, you know, if you have the mindset of going into, you know, get to know a person and do something different, then that's cool. But like a lot of people, they're just like, I'm about to be on this show and I know how to date. So yeah, I'm, you know, they're not going in. Like that's one of the things that I did like about Kayla and Randall is that they both kind of were looking at themselves. Even when I watched some of their videos like the interviews that they've been on so far, they are reflecting back to say, okay, well, I did learn this in some instances, right? But everybody wasn't doing that. And, you know, I don't know. I really need to catch up on my videos. I need to do a video to bring us up to speed for, well, not even to bring us up to speed, but just to share my thoughts in this last fucking episode, because.
All right, let me just sound off on that. And that'll be the last thing that I have to say for the evening. Listen, I know that it's an unpopular opinion, but all right, because there's a couple things here. Like with the Samson, I really just want to talk about Samson and Charisse. I get where he was coming from. Like, I get where she was coming from too, because he doesn't have to be like all in, but he wasn't really opening up. And I think she expected that he would be opening up by then. But I think she might have compared it to some of the other relationships that were happening. And that's not some of the other relationships. I also feel like they kind of like linked up because it was a process of elimination. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we can make something happen here. But he wasn't really all the way into her. And I mean, I'm not saying that he couldn't be, but I think that neither one of them were each other's first choice. Otherwise, they would have gotten together episode 1, episode 2, right? It took a few episodes for them to be like, oh, you know, what's up with you? And he even made comments on several occasions that, you know, she wasn't talking to me at first. She was all on her phone. And she wasn't like that with some of the other people that she was talking to. So I think he knew, but I also feel like this. I think, yeah, he wasn't opening up all the way, but you can't necessarily rush somebody's process or personality. And maybe he would have been willing to open up later on, and maybe they would have gotten to know each other better. But part of me is like, it was never going to work. And so why are you there, like prodding and like, why couldn't you just say that? It's like, it's one of those things where I feel like people don't want to be the one in the relationship, because they just don't want to be wrong, or they don't want to be the one out there. But it's like, if both of y'all know it's not working, then what are you doing? So that it seemed like she was on this like platform to like, she was on this mission to like prove that there was something wrong with him. And yeah, you're going to find something wrong with somebody like that. But I felt like he had a valid point in that I'm not leaving. I'm just not opening up to you yet. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, really, to be honest with you, I feel like he's one of those people who's like a nice person, but he's a bit of a dick. And he was just keeping that. He was keeping that in because he knows it's not a favorable quality of his.
So you went to Spelman. You know how the Morehouse men are? That's
yeah. And I get it. I get it. He knows that he's a dick. This is from my own perspective, right? He knows that he's a dick. He knows that it's
I use that word as well when describing him. Like, I really, I was side-eyeing him to begin with, but then because of the comment that he made in the first episode, but then I was like, okay, he's a life coach. He knows how to talk to people. You know, he seems like a really genuine dude, really nice guy. Like, he seems like the type of guy that, you know, we would deal with in our circles. Like, you know, I could see him at an event with James or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when he but the other thing is, because he is like that, I'm like, what are you hiding? Because he went around here and he was really trying to like portray his nice guy. He was jumping on these panels on YouTube and he was explaining himself, and he was, he changed my opinion by jumping on Sabrina's panel. And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, if he's like this, okay. But then he did have a moment where he was arguing with Jeremy. He wasn't, the conversation wasn't right, you know what I'm saying? And Jeremy wasn't buying any of his shit. So, but after that, it was like, okay, well, I can at least look at him a little bit differently, right? But then once I saw this episode, like, the thing for me for this episode is the way that men and women fight, right? Well, not even fight, but like, it was a difference. What they were doing to me was apples and oranges. She was trying to tell him something about things that the women said that he was doing to those women, that he was going to tell them, yeah, I have a connection with you. I don't want you to leave or whatever, right? That was the prince of her telling him that. But then he went to the whole, well, if I told you about the stuff that the dude's saying, you won't be here. Well, that's not what we're talking about, motherfucker. We're talking about the fact that you're out here not telling me that if where I stand, but you're calling these other people that you don't even have a connection with, telling them that there's something there.
Okay,
you know,
so,
and so because he and then he got defensive, and that's why I was like, oh please, I don't even like Charisse like that. But at that situation, I was like, that's why this Bama was wrong. Everybody's panel trying to show how he was Samson, a nice guy or whatever, and you know, then because he knew this shit was gonna come out because he not last season, but if you remember Liz and David, did you watch that season where Liz, the real pretty older lady, was trying to tell the dude that he wasn't ready to love, and before he say it, he was like, no, I'm not gonna hear. I'm not gonna hear. No, I quit. I'm leaving. Right? You're not gonna tell me that or whatever. Like that, the way that he did that was the way that Samson reminded me of because it was apples and oranges. She wasn't trying to cut you down by telling you what these other women said. She was literally trying to be like, nigga, do you like me or do you really got a connection with somebody else? Like, what's happening right now? You know what I'm saying? That's how I took it.
So from the Samson perspective, though, I don't know when he made those comments to Brandy and others. I wasn't sure if he had said those things earlier on to them, and so they were bringing them to Charisse. But I think the problem that I had with Charisse is that she was looking for something to eliminate him with. Like, it wasn't enough for her to just be like, I don't think this is gonna work. It's like she needed some ammo, and I didn't like that. So, like, here's my thing about Samson. I do think he's a dick. I think on the surface, he's a great surface guy. He's the great guy to bring to your office party. He's going to get along with everybody. Everybody's going to be like, I like that Samson guy. You know what I'm saying? But when you get home,
he's a good plus one
for
an event. He's a good plus one for an event.
Yeah, and when you get home, you ready to like turn down and like, you know, like let's watch a movie, let's chill, let's talk. Like, no, he's not the person you want to be with, because I'm not trying to say anything bad about all Morehouse men, but like there's a certain storyline that they're given, right? That like, you're the cream of the crop and you should, you know, have someone like this. It's almost like programming. So it's really interesting to me, the guys that I do know that, and I do know some ones that did not let the program.
They didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
I do know some guys that went to Morehouse that did not let the programming download, and they're not like this, but a lot of them, I mean, like 79% of them are like this, and they're programmed, and it's like they can't unprogram themselves because they like it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, but yeah, it's like you gotta have a certain type of performance, you gotta have a certain type of business, you gotta have a certain type of style. Like, you're the man, and like don't let nobody tell you you're not the man. And it's kind of like this overlay over the broken person that you were when you started getting the programming. So anything that reminds you that you're not what they told you were sort of triggers you back to like being a dick. Because and I think that's what happened with him. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not trying to say I know him because I don't know him, and I've just seen this story play out a few times.
No, like I think he's a nice guy, but I think that like I said, if he was confident in what happened on the show, then he wouldn't have been running around here trying to grease people up before we seen what really happened or whatever. Now I will say, you know, we didn't see the whole conversation. They probably had, you know, it was probably a longer conversation, and things were said. We don't know what, like you said, what point said that to the ladies. But like one of them was, he had just called her like recently or whatever. But then it was Katie, and she could have been saying that. But too many people said it for it not to be true. And the way that he reacted let me know that it was true, because all he had to really say to end it in real talk was, you know what? I was confused and I did do that, but I do feel this way about you. Like, he could have just not had that reaction to, like, he wanted to say something back. This is how I felt. He wanted to say something back to her to hurt her feelings because he couldn't believe that she was approaching him about something that he did. Not that he even thought he was wrong, but he felt attacked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, and then he let his teeth show. And then he was like, oh, you want this heat? And I thought that was
called her stupid. And Tyrone pointed out a good point. Because one, okay, he had that reaction in the moment, but then you still had the same type of energy in your cover scene, which was another day. right? It was a total different day than when you were on this date. So you still brought that same energy back. You know what I'm saying? Which that makes sense because it was, I think it was one other occasion that he said something else that they were all 3 different days, Tyrone pointed out. And he was like, that, you know, that's a problem because you could have gone home and thought about how you reacted and came back and like apologized or whatever. But
or
no,
been
you
like,
could've
yeah,
told
that
him
was my
instead.
best moment or something like that.
Right. And you know what? Even if he wouldn't have said that he did whatever she was telling him he did to the lady, if he would have just said, okay, like you just said, that wasn't my best moment, or that maybe was something that I wouldn't do. He was like, oh, I need to do a better job than, well, then maybe I need to do a better job of conveying my feelings or something like that. Well, nigga, I'm trying to tell you that these women told me that you conveyed a feeling to them. So why can't you tell me? That's how I was looking at it in that moment. So I don't know. I was team Sharice on that last date. And I know she couldn't wait to be like, you are not ready to love. And then, you know, with her drink and stuff, I was like, I know that right. I know that's right. But it's like, it didn't even have to go like that. But you know, I guess we'll see what happens on the reunion or whatever.
Here's the thing.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy.
I don't think he's a bad guy either, but we don't know who he is because he hasn't shown us. And here's the other thing is that she knows that she knew that he hadn't shown her. So that whole time she was going along with that, she knew that wasn't the real him, which is why she was so detective-like in trying to uncover, you know, who is Samson? Why is he, you know what I'm saying? Who is he? I think she had caught glimpses of it, and she at least knew that they hadn't connected in a real way. So she was kind of like going along with the motions, but she was like determined also to like reveal something that she just knew on the inside. So like by her saying like you're not ready to love, and her being so passionate about saying that, like she's not any fucking winner.
Tommy gave her that power though. He gave her that power that way. He was like, okay, you want to go have this conversation with him, and you gonna have to make a game time decision. If you want to tell him that he's not ready to love, this on you. That's basically
that has to be her self-eliminating also, though, because who else is she got?
Well, but right, that's what he asked her. What are you gonna do? Because yeah, there is nobody else. But like Faith, the thing about this show that I don't like is that, you know, you're pretty much it's an experiment, because what you're saying when you sign up is that, because what you're saying when you sign up is that I don't know what kind of people are going to be here.
See what
but
happens.
Whoever's there, I'm going to try to make it work with somebody. But that's kind of, to me, like, I mean,
I wonder if they,
because you get there and then it's like, okay, well then it's like, okay, who could I try to you can look at it and say, okay, I can open up my horizons, I can do something different. But at the end of it, you are still just being like, all right, we're gonna see what
look,
you know.
Judging by the production, I don't think they do a lot of like you know, matching of personalities to see.
Apparently, so okay, I'm sorry, I keep
they do casting, right? But I don't think
they do.
Like, remember that one show we saw about
they take?
Huh?
Apparently, they have personality tests that they take, or psych tests that they take. Apparently,
look, my thing is, it doesn't really seem that scientific, because I don't know what I'm talking. Let me not
like
even go
okay,
there.
so okay, I see what you're saying though, because remember when what was that show we was the Ultimate?
Yeah.
They did a hell of a job matching those people, because who was gonna say that these 5 couples are actually have attraction between each other? So they did a good job on that. But I don't know that they do the same thing for Ready to Love, but I have heard that they do psych tests or psych evals or whatever. And you know, but I don't think they do.
I don't think they do them in depth.
I don't think they do matching.
Casting.
I think that you're right. They do casting because they have the casting calls, and a lot of the people are contacted to be on it. Like Walter was contacted to be on it. Justice was probably contacted to be on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most like who in their sound mind?
But it's like this, babe. You know somebody
be ready to love.
Listen, you know somebody, right? In your life, if this show came around again, oh, you should go on there because you're a character. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I could see if, okay, I really do. Somebody posted somebody posted a great idea on Twitter, and I wish I could remember the person's name, but basically they were like, they should do a mixed match season, which means like, okay, let's take people from Atlanta and take them to Miami and see if we can get 5 people. I mean, I'm sorry, like, 5 girls, 5 guys from Atlanta, 5 girls, 5 guys from Miami, and mix those two. Or Dallas and Houston. Like, they're doing a Dallas one now, but that would be a good idea because it would give it a different spin. It wouldn't be people from your area, and it would give you, a different look on it or whatever. They do need to do something to change the format because at this point, I don't know. They got a second season in Miami, so I don't know how that's going to go because at this point they waited way too long to pick couples. You know what I mean? We don't know who's going to be together. It could be some wild cards at the end, and all of it is going to probably seem fake because I don't really feel none of the couples except for Swayze and Katie, and I do believe that they liked each other. Brandy and Mike, I feel like Brandy liked Mike more than he liked her. And you still didn't look at that Instagram page yet because I can tell. But the other thing that I wanted to say about that is that, like I said, I don't see anybody that's in like a real, Katie and Swayze. Now, they're together now. We see them on Instagram, whatever. Cutest couple. They look good, right? And so I think that Katie and Swayze, I think that they're a cute couple. But I think that I saw somewhere, I can't remember where I saw that, but I feel like I saw somewhere where she said that stuff wasn't real. Like the stuff that they were making them argue about wasn't always real. I don't know.
What is Mike doing?
Allegedly.
What is Mike doing?
So now that you've seen that makes more sense to me why Kayla was like, she had a lot of energy for him. She felt chemistry with him and all this other stuff. She wanted to see what was up. I can see what she wanted to see what was up with. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's like an entertainer.
I was like,
but yeah,
you know what? This makes a lot of sense because he got out of a marriage, and I really don't think he's ready to be in a relationship. To be honest with you,
I think he's for Brandy because Brandy hasn't been in a relationship before. So that is like,
I think he got out of that marriage and he's ready to play these streets and see how much, action he could get. That's what this Instagram page looked like to me. This Instagram page looked like I got my freedom back and I'm about to see what's up.
Nigga, I was looking at that and I'm like, okay then. But yeah, I definitely don't feel like Brandy should pick him. Or that he should pick her. And I feel like he can't handle Kayla because Kayla will be the extreme of not tripping on that, what he does, right? And she would be out doing her, not like if they were together, she would cheat on him, but he wouldn't be able to take what he knows is his reality. He would be thinking about all these dudes coming on to Kayla or whatever. So I don't think neither one of them, I think Randall is the match that for her that both of them need. Like he needs Kayla and Kayla needs him because I don't think Trinika should go with not Trinika. I don't think Jamala should go with Randall either, because I feel like Jamala is a lot more what's the word? I don't know. I don't feel like
I've met Mikes before. Before.
Absolutely.
I've dated them. I get who he is now.
That made so much sense to me when I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Bet. Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Anyway. I'm still looking at one of these pictures like Anyway. All right. On that note, everyone. This is a great conversation. As usual, thank you for joining us for Those Two Sisters Live. Next week, we're going to have more hot topics. We're going to delve back into this Ready to Love business.
Because it'll be the finale. The season finale the season finale is tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure
we'll have many more topics to share because we didn't even get to all our topics today. We got a couple topics from a couple weeks ago that we never got to. So there's always so much to talk about when me and my sister get together. So thank y'all so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week. Did you want to say something to me?
Yeah, thank y'all for riding with us, as I usually say, through all of our technical difficulties and our blabber in the beginning, because I know, like I said, we're an acquired taste, you know what I mean? We'll be talking about a little bit of everything. Sometimes we over here, sometimes we over here. And if you were able to follow along the whole time, you're dysfunctional like us as well. So welcome to the family. Anyway, but yeah, shout out to everybody that came out to sit here with us and listen to us talk. We're gonna be back next week. And I guess y'all y'all homework is to watch the next episode of The Love so y'all can participate in that part of the conversation next week. So, but that's all I gotta say. Oh, subscribe to Faith. And I never, I'm gonna put this shit in the description because I the last couple of weeks I haven't been doing that. But I'm gonna can you put your link back here so I can put it in the
Yes. I'm gonna Linktree. I can put it right here in the private chat.
Yeah, and then I'll copy it and put it in the chat. But everybody follow my sister, check out her Linktree. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, definitely like and subscribe. So her Linktree is in the chat. Also, what else did I want to say?
Hey Kamisha,
thing like that.
Oh, it just did that when you went to go copy my link.
Motherfucker. Anyway, I don't know why I'm turned to this. I guess, this is one of the things that happens when you're trying to be a content creator. Anyway,
Thanks, Kamisha. Thanks for sharing.
I also got merch now, y'all. If y'all want to help your girl support her new little habit that she's trying to do, I'm trying to get more creative. But y'all know I'm doing my workout challenge, and I got another video coming up about my week of workouts that I did not do this week. But I have some workout tees that I am selling now, so y'all can go to my website. Hold on. There you go, right there.
I was just
check it out. If you have any suggestions or feedback, if you do order anything from my website, definitely hit me in my email, which is also on my website, because I care about what the people who are going to be buying stuff from me, what they want and what they think about the products that I'm selling. So with all that yay! I mean, your shirt came today. I'm so excited. I know, Kamisha, I don't know what happened. I just I tried to figure it out, but let me see if I can figure it. No, I don't know what's going on here. It's not letting me do it.
Oh, well, we get ready. There it is. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so anyway, but yeah, so Ellen, good. You got your shirt. Let me know what you think. I don't know what you ordered. If it's one of the tank tops, it is a workout shirt. So it's not heavy. It's really, really light. It's almost too light for me because I don't like the way that it fits right now. But I'm gonna give it a chance to see. But anyway, like I said, I'm open to all feedback, and I do care about y'all might point out things that I'm not thinking about. So like, share, subscribe to this video, follow my sister, and also make sure that you catch Kamisha Reviews on Saturdays and every other day too, because y'all know she did an interview with Taylor from Big Brother and Taylor's boyfriend. She be having some bomb interviews with people from these reality shows that you wouldn't think would be over there, and they be over there and they be excited to be over there, and Kamisha be coming with the good questions. Also on Saturday, she has the panel review for Ready to Love. The season finale is tomorrow, so y'all make sure that y'all go to Kamisha's on Saturday so y'all can hear what all the other content creators have to say. New cast members come through, and some of the old cast members are on the panel, and they come through the chat, and a lot of tea gets spilled over there, guys. So definitely check her out. And shout out to everybody. This is a long ass closing. I was just trying to give people time to click on your Linktree too.
It's all good.
Definitely. Thanks for supporting y'all. So anyway, let me get out here because I'm about to babble. I need to fucking cook. I need to do some other stuff, and I know you gotta go eat too or whatever. So we're gonna see y'all next week. Make sure you're here on time because y'all were late today. I don't know what y'all were doing, but y'all were late. So anyway, we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.